Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and it's time for a new journal. Here on YouTube I share my witchy life, mostly in the form of tarot and witchy journaling. And if you like that, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that thumbs up, and hit that bell notification. I also do pepper astrology through everything because, well, I'm an astrologer and that is what we do in life. For today's video, I am setting up my new witchy journal, and I do have part of it sped up this time, unlike my usual explaining, but there are timestamps down below. So if you prefer to skip over the part where you get to watch me set up my journal and hear me ramble about whatever it is that I decide to say in this voiceover, then you can go ahead and check out those timestamps, go towards the end of the video, and you can just go to the part where I show you my finished spreads and explain what they are. My bullet journal to me is not just a productivity tool. In fact, it's not really a productivity tool. It's a tool to help my brain be clearer, to improve my wellness, and it's a tool I use to explore everything in life and to align me more with my spirituality. So in my journal, I set up a lot of spreads that are witchcraft and pagan related because that's what I am. I'm a pagan witch. So I set up spreads about my year ahead, pulling cards. I set up spreads for planning things, for working with the wheel of the year. This first one that I'm setting up, the first 2 pages of spreads are tarot related spreads. I am going to be doing a video about different tarot spreads and tarot journaling ideas in like a compilation, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But what I really learned throughout this process of setting up this journal, and it was a long process, it always is a long process for me, what I learned was how much I missed the creativity in my journal. It's the thing that got me really into bullet journaling in the first place. And it's the thing that helped me build consistency. And somehow over time, my journal became much more mundane and much more boring in efforts of me trying to figure out how to be more productive and how to get my work done despite my mental health struggles. Unfortunately for me, it seemed that productivity and that search to, be the perfect human who gets all the things that she writes in her journal done, I lost and sacrificed a lot of what really made me love my bullet journal in the first place. And the reason this is my bullet journal and not my book of shadows, I do have a book of shadows and it is separate. I'll tell you about that a bit more in a minute. The reason I love my bullet journal is because it is my place, it's my playground, it's my place to explore, it's my place to develop. It gives me visuals and helps me conceptualize my life in a way that nothing else can, because my brain doesn't have that ability to visualize and conceptualize like some others might. I use my bullet journal, and I really determined this while setting this up. I used my bullet journal to take action on the things I want to take action on. So I determined I am going to be splitting some of my spiritual stuff out of it, like my tarot readings, and putting those in my book of shadows, and having a book of shadows again, also in a smaller size, because as it turns out, I really like having a separate book of shadows, and I prefer doing tarot readings in an A5 size format. The size you're seeing me in is a B5 instead. So I decided I'm going to separate those out, and I'll be talking more about that, I'm sure. And how I distinguish the difference between what makes this a bullet journal for me and not a book of shadows, not a witchy journal. What makes this a bullet journal is the fact that I use it to help me build up and move towards and take action towards the things that I want in my life, and especially the witchy things. Like this journal, this spread rather, that I'm starting here. I left as much footage in of this as possible because it's my favorite and it's a fabulous one, and this is an example of what I mean. I have a goal this year to build myself a spiritual practice, to really build it from the ground up, to really basically get my feet under me, feel like I have more of a foundation with my witchcraft. I spent a lot of the first few years of my life as someone being a witch, dealing with mental health stuff. And now that I understand more of that, I really want to build my witchy foundations. And so I create this spread. This is my spread for my wheel of the year. I highly recommend, if you are new and starting out, or if you're just having trouble connecting with the wheel of the year, I highly recommend building your own. You don't have to follow any of the holidays. You don't have to do a damn thing you don't want to do, especially in your witchcraft. And your witchcraft should be specifically for you. It shouldn't be for anybody else. So I realized I wasn't connecting with the wheel of the year the way I wanted to. And my solution to that has been to this year try and observe so I can see what makes sense for me. So when it came time to design this new journal, I realized I really wanted to lean more into it. I wanted to take all the elements that are important for me, the elements that I want considered when it comes to designing my life, and I wanted to include them in this spread. As I say later in the video when I'm explaining this spread, I will be doing a special members video for it, so you can check out my membership and get in on that. Also, though, if people are interested, and let me know in the comments down below, I am happy to, at a future time when I feel more solid in explaining what this spread is to me and how it works, I'd be happy to do a video for it at a later point. This is all about my theme this month, which I talked about in my September video, which is linked up above in the cards. And my theme this month is creating my life. It's designing my life, and it's designing it for me and for no one else. And the bullet journal is a wonderful tool, especially with witchiness. I love it so much, and it's so satisfying to look at. Oh my gosh. It's a perfect tool for me to help with mental health, to have a place to build and to explore and to design your life so you can take action on it. By designing and spending all this time working on a wheel of the year, a personal wheel of the year spread, I am so excited now and feel much more connected to the idea of building my wheel of the year. Same with my moon practice. My moon practice has been shifting a lot. So if you're familiar with my channel and you see my new moon videos, please stay tuned. I'm going to be trying to do an update video soon because I watched a video by Jessica Starr, formerly known as Jessica the Story Witch, now known as Jessica and the Moon, where she talked about how she felt the narrative of our narrative of the moon work was incomplete. That video is linked up above in the cards as well. And it clicked because so much of witchcraft is other people telling us what to do. And I think for a lot of us, when we really start to feel in touch and aligned with our witchcraft selves is when we start to really design it for ourselves, or when we find the pieces that people suggest that make sense for us. It just so happens that for me, a lot of the things that people suggest haven't made sense for me. The traditional wheel of the year, the Wiccan one, hasn't fully aligned. Some of the holidays I love, others I don't connect with. Moon work, I love moon work, but the way the narrative talks about working with the moon doesn't work for me. It's never fully clicked. And this is why I love my bullet journal. because here in these pages, in this magical book, which I can make as pretty or as simple as I want, I just happen to choose pretty, here I am able to dive in and build it so it is a space for me to work on these things that I want to develop in my life. So that way I can take action with them. So those tarot readings that I decided to put in my Book of Shadows, I determined how the difference would be is like when I do a tarot reading, I'll do it in my Book of Shadows. And I'm happy to share those here on the channel as well. If you'd like, just let me know. And if I do a tarot reading and there's action behind it, and part of the message is about me needing to take action, then I will make a spread for it in my bullet journal. So that way I can follow through with it day to day. Anyways, we are almost done this sped up part of the video, and we've reached the point where I'm just setting up about 1 billion squares. And really, I'm in the mundane spreads here. So, well, I mean, sort of. I really love this yearly tracker spread setup because it's so applicable in so many ways. It's the way I set up and track my yearly tarot pulls too. So that's just amazing, and I love it. It's just a thing I have to include so I can see certain things. I track my wife's migraines like this for her neurologist appointments. I track my cycle for my reproductive health and keeping an eye on things. I track anything that I want to keep a good wide eye on so that way I can see how I'm doing. And that's why I cut a lot of that footage. Those spreads take forever to fill out. And this spread, okay. I did not include much footage in this spread here because you'll see it at the end of the flip through, but then you'll notice very, very soon that it's no longer in my actual setup. And that's because I decided not to use it. So I glued the pages together and I moved forward. Just with recent monthly spreads, that last one was a content planner. It ended up just kind of realizing that it was, for me, now obsolete. And now you get to hear about my spreads I made. It's done. Let me show you what I've come up with in here. So far, for my intro page, I have a drawing of the Hanged One, which is my card of the year. I'm going to be putting some sort of a quote on this side. I don't know what yet, but I am going to be putting that. And this was really cool. So on this page, as you would have seen in the beginning, there's normally like a nameplate that says like, this book belongs to, etc., etc. But I don't really use that, and I really felt called to draw. So I didn't have paper that matched. So what I ended up doing was I took the flip of the pocket back here because I don't use the pocket and it matches the paper. And I decided to decorate back here in this box too, which I will do. But because I wanted to have decoration here, I always do a pen test page at the back of my journals and it looks like a big mess and I didn't want that. So this pocket that I never used, I cut it open so that way I could use part of the pages for here. So this is where I got this extra piece of paper that matches and I glued it on and then I drew this. And then now it just opens like a flap. So on this inside portion here is where I'll be able to do my pen tests, but I will be able to close it and it will stay nice and clean looking, which I really like. So that's why I have that. I do have to point out that I've noticed with my notebook therapy, the pages, let me see if I can show you. The pages are, because the way the binding is glued, sometimes pages get like this. If the glue has leaked. I have a habit normally of separating them so that way I have my page. Now, unfortunately, that affects Notebook Therapy's binding, as it turns out. So, my current journal, Notebook Therapy, if you happen to see this, you might want to address that, has done this. And I think that's a combination of separating things like you just saw me do. I didn't know it would do this, and also from cutting pages. So, this brand new journal started to separate here. So here, this shows it. The back page, if it would actually cooperate, is one of those pages that is glued. Same was the front page, and I had separated the two, and then the binding started to separate. So what I did, and what I'm going to do instead, is instead of separating these two, I recommend gluing them together. That seems to have solved the problem here at the front. So I glued these pages together, and that seems to be holding the binding. So just be careful of that. They're fabulous notebooks. I'm still going to go with them because it does still save me money, and I love their choices. So this opens up into my 2022 in card spread, which is a 4-page spread. Here's the first 2 of them. On this side, I have my year ahead spread as I pulled it, all the months of the year with the card written underneath. This is what I've been filling in with my themes for the month and been recording at the bottom of the pages. There we go. And then at the bottom of the pages, I've been recording what card I pulled using my color code. I have my yearly tracker here for my cards. And then I have a space here to record the information for record notes I notice here based on the months. So I can write down like January, I only pulled 1 cup card. So I might write, there's a lack of cups. I record my cards because I like to refer back to them. And one of my favorite nerdy things to do is at the end of the year to sit down and look at the stats of my tarot pulls throughout the year. How many times did I pull majors? What was my number 1 card pull all year? I want to do it for a video for y'all. Let me know if that sounds interesting in the comments. And so I need a place to gather that information. So I have this, which I use to reference throughout the year. And I also use at the end of the year when gathering that information at my daily card tracker. And then I have a place to write notes about how, important things. If I notice, like I said in that January example, in the whole month of January, I only pulled a cup card once. So I might write that. I obviously haven't gone in and filled this in yet. And I just really wanted to lean in and make this feel super special. So I did end up drawing little cards. I couldn't do a ton of details, although this one up here is my teeny tiny tower card. So I just did like symbols, and I just tried to make them look like cards. I love how this turned out. And here's the continued page. So I have my spreads for my readings that I tend to do each month. This will be interesting how it develops, because my moon practice is really shifting and changing right now. So I'm interested about that. But this is a place to record those pulls. Up here, this is where I can record my week ahead pulls that I've done. There's EDEOA, energy obstacle advice. So I can just write for the weeks of the year. For a second, I was like, oh my God, I didn't do it for the months. But no, I counted up to 52. So I can go back to my journals and fill this in. And then here's a place for me to record just any other tarot pulls. So that way all my information should, at the end of the year, be in this one little section here. And I love it. But this might be my favorite. This is my Wheel of the Year. As you can see, Kyra's Wheel of the Year spread. I've been trying all this year to really develop my practice. And that hasn't changed. But now I'm approaching it differently, and I love this so much. So this spread is me specifically creating my own personal Wheel of the Year. So I decided to plug it in with my elements for this. If you would like more details about this, this is something my members got a special video of, or are getting a special video of this month. You can check out my membership. At a future point, I'd be willing to consider talking about this with the public once it's more fleshed out. But for now, I'm keeping that to my membership, but you can check that out. But do let me know if you'd like to hear more about this in the future. So basically what I ended up doing was plugging in the parts of my practice that I like to use to kind of design my whole life. So I have the seasons of the sun by the zodiac wheels. I did draw the moons out here. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I use the colored in black moons are for the dark moons. Red is not for eclipses. Those are for my moon returns. And then the yellow are for the full moons. So I have those to symbolize that I work with those moon phases. And then I have on the outside, I plugged in the Wheel of the Year. So Ostara. And I did color gradients, and the color gradients actually I used to match my next page, which I'm really thrilled about. So, and it breaks into seasons because of the way my chart lines up. There's lots of details about that, but you know. And then, so spring, winter, summer, and fall. And the really cool part is I've left these boxes for me to write and reflect on ideas, things. This is for me to envision and imagine and build off of. This is my tool to show me how my Wheel of the Year looks. I don't know if I'll keep trying to observe all of these like holidays. We shall see. But this is how I've got it set up. And I do have a little section here more on the moon, because the moon phases are definitely something I'm working into my practice. So I have this all here, and I have space for me to journal and plan here, so that way I can start doing this and have it with me ready to move into the new year. That's the goal. And then the space here to explore. But this is me building my personal Wheel of the Year. I have a spread here for my Mars return. I did a tarot reading. I still have to transcribe the information over, and then I left this page blank for me to do more astrology stuff. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do here yet, but that's okay. And I'm going to add some more decorations. Then we have my tracking of all of the things. I've really liked moving my tracking into using like a stoplight system. Green is good. I mean, a blank square would be perfect depending on the tracker. Green is I did good. Yellow is warning. Red is not so good, right? And I have my same sections as before. And then the last one, this is the one I worked on live, and I love it so very much. So you can check that live out up above in the cards. This is my Cosmic Guided Life Goals. This is me expanding and working on more fully sorting out how I've been trying to do my goal setting based on astrology. So that's what I've done here. I created a chart. I talked all about it in the live. So I wrote out my chart so I could take the temperature of the different areas of my life. I have a place down here where I wrote, and this took some time, but I did figure out what I want each season to be about for me. So starting with fall, fall feels kind of like a beginning of my personal year. I don't quite know how to explain why. Maybe that's because of my moon sign, but fall is kind of feels like where my year begins, in essence, sort of. And it's so I start in fall by focusing on resetting. And then each month I can pick a different focus. Like I could do decluttering, I could do cleansing, I could do protection work, whatever feels like I need to do. So that way when I'm planning for my year, I can have monthly focus areas for my craft that I can work with. Like for October, I might have a focus area of protection. And that would be based on if I feel like I need protection for part of resetting my space and myself, and so I can go through the new cycle. So actually I guess it really starts in, like, it does start with winter with me. But it's like this is the last few in preparation for the new cycle to begin. So I have resetting, and then winter is quieting, spring is visioning, and summer is acting. Again, in future, I can talk more about this, but this is part of that video for my members, so you can check out the membership if you're interested. And I did realize that it felt like it lined up with the moon cycle, so I did add the moons, and that's what helped me finalize it. This page is where I'm going to fill in my monthly themes and goals. So I'm going to start with fall, which I'm in now, and then I'm going to plan the rest of my year. And I mean, it could change, but I want to get this kind of thing going, and I want to start with that. And that is all I have gotten here. I don't think I'm going to be adding anything else. I think the next things will be coming just in October. I am so excited. I don't know which I love, which is my favorite spread. It might be this one. It might be this one. They're both just stunningly beautiful. But that is how I've gotten my journal, my brand new journal, all ready for me to really move into it for October. And I have decided that this is going to be my like daily working journal. So it will have practical applications with like the bullet journaling and the planning. I am going to separate some of the stuff back out and have a book of shadows again. I found in reflection, I realized some things I wasn't doing as much because I was doing them in the same journal. And like, I really love this size for spreads like this, for the bullet journaling, where I really do personal development and spiritual development. For like tarot journaling, this size is too big. I don't like it. So that is what I've decided to do. Stay tuned for more details on that. And this is where I'm going to leave you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please let me know in the comments down below, how do you like this? I really tried to work on formatting to make this fun, interesting thing for you. So let me know. Again, let me know if you want to hear any more details about any of these spreads that I'm working on in the future once they've more developed and I feel more solid in them. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to let me know if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you can come on back nice and easily. And beside the subscribe button, you will find a join button that you can click on to check out all about my channel membership and see if there's anything in there of interest to you. In the description box below, you will find my website where you can book some time with me. I'm a professional astrologer and tarot reader, and I specialize in combining the two so we can work with you in a very customized and special way. I have lots of specialty things. I love them. My email is also there, so if you have any questions about my services or about just anything you think I might be able to help you with, or you would like to request certain videos for the channel here, you can do that through that email address. And there is a link there in the description box as well for joining my membership, because sometimes it's weird and you don't have a join button. But that is it. I'm going to let you go here, and I will see you again very, very soon. Lots of love. Bye.